And then one of the first things they'll ask you is, what is your kid wearing? And if you're most like us and like most parents, you're like, sometimes in the morning, it's a little chaotic. You get your kids dressed.
What they wear.
Or they got dressed themselves, right? And you don't know.
Yeah. This is Worldschooling Q&A. I'm Astrid, creator of The Wandering Daughter. As a traveling family, we've spent 4 years traveling full-time to over 18 countries and 6 continents. Wherever we go, we try to learn as much as we can about the countries and cultures we visit. While we didn't coin the term, we like to call this worldschooling, using the world as our classroom. Each week, my husband Clint and I will answer one question about worldschooling and share our experiences of traveling the world with our kids. Ready to get started? Great! Let's dive in. So our question for today is, how do I keep our travel safe, especially while visiting unfamiliar places?
This is a question I think people new to world schooling asks a lot, especially people who haven't traveled a lot. We traveled quite a bit with our kids even before world schooling. So I think this is just something that's been with us for a long time. But yeah, why don't you kind of start?
Yeah, there's a lot of fear sometimes of like the unknown. And so I think one of the things that you have to keep in mind while you're traveling is to like balance that fear and that with, curiosity and an open-mindedness.
Yeah, I think a general rule of thumb I have, whether traveling solo or with the kids, I think especially with the kids, is always try to be calm and slow down. So by slowing down and being calm, you're able to observe more, remain kind of alert and aware, but not jump quickly to judgment too.
Yeah. And kids will like pick up on your moods and they'll subconsciously pick up on like what you're feeling. And so if you're feeling anxious, they're going to start to feel anxious too. And so, it's important to like model staying calm and in an unknown situation, or like model like just being aware of your surroundings, because eventually they'll start to pick that up subconsciously or maybe not subconsciously.
I think what's important too is if there are situations where it does require a little bit elevated amount of stress or awareness, and your normal practice is to be calm, but then in that situation you get a little bit more tense and you get a little bit, the kids will pick up on that too, and they'll like subconsciously, they don't even have to like be aware that this is happening. Subconsciously they'll be like, oh, I need to like be a little bit more alert right now. So it's really important to just try in normal situations, be calm, because a lot of unfamiliarity or anxiety that comes around unfamiliar places sometimes inappropriately gets logged as like a safety concern.
Yeah.
And it's not, in most times, it's not a safety concern. It's just because someone's unfamiliar with their context.
Or biases that they carry or whatever.
Yeah.
Something you can do ahead of time before your trip is just to have a plan. We're planners. We like to have some kind of like plan of like, okay, let's look at the place that we're staying at. What are the things that are around there? Is there like, is it going to be like a well frequented place, or is it a little bit more secluded? If so, what are some things that we need to keep in mind about that?
Yeah, knowing like how are you going to get around that place? How are you going to get to and from that place? I think landing in a new airport can be intimidating, especially if you've never gone overseas or to a developing country. And landing at the airport can be intense. Some places, such as Indonesia, very touristy areas, when you land, you're bombarded immediately with lots and lots of people vying for your attention. And so I think that's a great example of like, kind of have a plan. If you know that that's something that might bother you, then just book transportation ahead of time so that when you get to the airport, you have peace of mind of, I can ignore everyone here except for the person that's driving me to where I need to go.
Yeah.
So that can be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you Or why don't we talk a little bit about traveling with small kids? I mean, we've done, our kids are teens now, or tweens and teens, but we have done travel with them when they were young, like even as young as 2 years old or under two. And so, what are some considerations for traveling with small kids?
So, preface this, we met while working in a daycare of little kids. And so we kind of got, I guess, luxury. Didn't feel like it at the time. We have the luxury of learning firsthand how to herd many kids together in one location while on a field trip, and it's kind of safety stuff involved there. I think one thing that I think a lot of parents don't think about, this is really important with group travel as well. So if you're traveling with other families, is counting heads. Yeah, exactly. I like referencing the movie Home Alone, if you've ever seen that, because they do a head count at the beginning, but then they miss one, an important one, because of a situation. But like, it's important. Count heads. We count bags and we count heads. Those are the two things we're always counting, making sure, especially traveling with another family. Okay, there's 6 kids with us right now. We got 6 kids. Cool. 4 adults. Good.
Yeah.
10 bags. We're good. Like, just always kind of that counting wherever you're going, wherever you're transitioning. It doesn't have to even be when you're in a car going somewhere. It can be literally like, we just got up from sitting down at a restaurant. We're about to leave the restaurant. How many bags did we have? How many people do we have? Okay, we're good. And it doesn't have, you don't have to make a big show of it. It's just a quick like glance. Vocal. Be out loud about it though.
Yeah.
I will tell her like 4 bags or
Yeah.
4 kids, 2 kids, whatever.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when we worked in daycare, we would have like a bunch of kids and we're walking through a city street. We'd have one teacher in the front and one teacher in the back so that the kids are in the middle and there's always somebody like leading the way and someone that's behind. If you're traveling solo with your kids, now that would be a different thing. But, if you have a lot of kids, maybe like an older kid can be more of like the leader and you can be in the back so that you're able to watch all of the kids. So that was one trick from our daycare experience.
What is something, if a kid gets lost, what is something that we can instill in them in case something like that happens?
There's a couple things. One is I think it's important for your kids to know your full name so that our kids know, our names. So if a grown up, like a police officer or somebody, they get lost and someone finds them, they're like, what are your parents' names? And they're able to say like your full name, then that will be helpful for the, person, the grown up. Another thing, what was something that you wanted?
It's a good idea to know what your kids are wearing.
Right. Yes.
So if your kids get separated from you, say like an amusement park or something, generally it sounds like a super panic moment and it can be incredibly terrifying. But there are systems in place to help kids reunite with their parents. And one of those is the staff. This is anywhere in the world, actually. The staff is usually trained to, if they see a kid by themselves that's really young that looks lost, to guide them to a safe space and then to ask them questions about what their parents are. Well, the same thing parents can do. You can go to a staff member and say, I cannot find my kid. Please help me. And then one of the first things they'll ask you is, what is your kid wearing? And if you're most like us and like most parents, you're like, sometimes in the morning, it's a little chaotic. You get your kids dressed.
What they were.
Or they got dressed themselves, right? And you don't know.
Yeah.
So one way you can circumnavigate that is that the word? Circumvent that.
Yeah.
Is to take a photo of them
every day,
so you know exactly what they're looking or what they look like.
One, that's great because you're also like taking daily memories of your trip.
Yeah.
There are some general like family stuff too. I think this kind of segues into that of like, have a plan, like an emergency plan. What happens if you do get separated? We had an instance in Rome where, Clint and I were doing the head counts and everything, but it was a busy bus station and we were just waiting for the bus to get on and it had been the end of a long day. And I thought that Clint had my son, and Clint thought that he was with me. And we all get on the bus, and we're about a block away when I like do my head count and I realize that our son is not on the bus with us. And at the time he was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And it was the scariest experience of our lives. We didn't speak Italian, and we're just trying to tell the bus driver to like, stop the bus. And we jump off the bus, we run back to the bus stop, and we find him right where we left him. There was a woman that was there with him, and he was crying and stuff, but it was like, I don't know, just so scary for me. But we're also grateful that he knew to stay in the spot where he was at instead of trying to find us or trying to do something else.
Yeah, getting on and off of metro is like public transportation is one way. That's how we were on a bus. But we've also established like we ride a lot of subways. And so we've just established like we've reiterated with their kids time and time again. If you get on the train without us for some reason, get off at the next stop and we will meet you there. If we get on the train and you're left behind, stay at that station. We'll come back.
Yeah.
So just have a plan. Where are you supposed to meet? We go to an amusement park or a big location. Be like, hey, by this giant clown statue, if you get separated, let's meet here.
Find your way back there.
And then if they go to a staff member or something, then they can tell them, I'm supposed to meet at this clown statue, and then they can help them go there as well. What's another thing that we do?
So we have like a safe word. Sometimes it's never had to come up, but we do tell the kids, like, you know, as a family, we come up with a secret safe word that we say. So in case like a grown up approaches them and they're not with us, they can say, oh, well, we know your parents and we know the safe word. Or like they'll ask, you know, well, what's the safe word? And then if they say the correct safe word, then the kids will know to go with the grown up.
Yeah. Another situation this might come up is we actually heard this from family friends of ours who were full-time traveling. They were in a hotel where there was a situation that came up that was kind of a dangerous situation. And they used the safe word just by saying it among the family. Like, it's kind of what I said earlier about the heightened alert thing. Like, oh, I need to pay attention right now. And it can be, in fact, I think you want it kind of be a silly and unique word.
Yeah.
And don't share this with a lot of people. You know, in fact, try not to share it outside of your family. It can be a normal word, but just try not to share it outside your family. So for example, if you make yours, I don't know, like
Bubblegum.
That's a great one, right? And you don't use it in everyday conversation. But if all of a sudden, like you're like walking along the street or a sudden, and like everyone's kind of doing the other thing, and then the parents start saying bubblegum, like the kids are like, why are they saying and then they'll like click, like, oh, that's our safe word. Something's happening. I need to like tense up, or I need to like ask them what's happening.
Or
stay close.
What my parents are doing. Yeah. So that kind of goes along with like what to do in an emergency. You know, once you pick the safe word, like talk through some potential scenarios and how you would handle that.
Yeah.
Again, emergency planning.
Yeah. Along with emergency planning, what's something we always do in every location?
Oh, yeah. Knowing what the emergency numbers are. So in the US, it's 911, but in other countries, it's different. So just, you know, search it up, see what is the emergency number for that country, and also know how to say police in the local language.
The great thing is, so far, every country we've ever been to, they all have an emergency number. So it's a common thing all throughout the world. So
yeah, and I give a lot of these tips, these safety tips on my blog. I have an article actually that is all about like how to prevent your kids from getting lost. And I share more detail about that experience with our son in Rome and other experiences too.
Yeah.
Why don't you end with like, what is something else that's like kind of unexpected safety thing?
Yeah, we travel. We mentioned this in another episode. We travel with a carbon monoxide detector. Yeah. It's really small. It's battery operated. It's super benign as far as having it in our luggage. we travel with it because there have been stories of people dying because of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah.
And in most of the world, carbon monoxide detection is not mandatory. Now, we've had European friends tell us like that's such an American problem. It might be, but it saved us. I mean, we were in Mexico City staying in a place, and we told the story in another podcast, so I won't dive too deep. But long story short, like we woke up in the middle of the night to really high carbon monoxide, and we had to get out of the apartment, and we got out of the apartment, and we woke up because the alarm went off.
Yeah.
And it was really, really high. So it's something that we just like, we tell everyone now. It's like it's a critical part of our packing. We take it even traveling in the US.
Yeah.
We don't need it. A lot of times, sometimes it stays in the bag, but you never know.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Worldschooling Q&A with Astrid and Clint. Be sure to check out the show notes for any links we mentioned in the episode, and visit my website, thewanderingdaughter.com, to dive deeper into worldschooling and family travel.
If you like what you hear, please consider supporting The Wandering Daughter on Patreon. It really helps us out and keeps the show going. You'll also get exclusive perks like episode transcripts, additional resources, access to office hours with us, and more. You can find us on Spotify or the podcast app of your choice. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can tap the bell icon to get notified when new episodes come out. And if you like this episode, please give us a 5-star review. It really helps new people find our show.
If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap the bell icon to get notified of new episodes. You can follow me on Instagram @WanderDaughter or follow The Wandering Daughter on Facebook. Links to these are also in the show notes. If you have any worldschooling questions you'd like us to answer for future episodes, feel free to throw them in the comments or send us a message at thewanderingdaughter.com/podcast. Until next time, happy travels!
Bye!